Check, check. My check, check, check.
Thank you.
Testing 1, 2. Check, check. Check, check, check. My check, check, check. Check.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I just want to make a quick introduction. My name is Gracie Perez. I am the Public Information Officer for the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and today you will be hearing from our Sheriff Mike Gleason. Also present is District Attorney Sean Dick and Liberty Hill Chief Rings. Commander Foster will also be speaking as well.
I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everybody. As Gracie said, my name is Mike Gleason. I'm the Sheriff of Williamson County. It's kind of ironic that we stand here and we talk about this today. As several of y'all may have seen broadcasts a couple weeks ago, I was sitting on the symposium with Texas Supreme Court Justice Chief Nathan Heck and Senator John Cornyn talking exactly about this while this case was unfolding, and I couldn't even tell them about it due to the nature and the integrity of the investigation. And so I thought I was sitting there, I was going to have a perfect story for everybody that's here, but just couldn't talk about it. I know you can have a lot of questions, so I'm probably going to make this as brief and just hit the highlights so we can get into your questions, but I'll go through the highlights. On March 8th, 2024, approximately 2:30 a.m., Williamson County 911 received a call from a teenager reporting that his mother and her boyfriend had been shot by an unknown intruder who forced entry into their home while they slept. Nothing was stolen, and it was clear that this was not a random attack. The female victim suffered 11 gunshot wounds to her chest, abdomen, arms, legs, shoulder, and neck. The boyfriend sustained 2 gunshot wounds to his neck and arm. Remarkably, both victims survived this incident. Upon arrival, a Liberty Hill police officer asked the female victim who could have shot her, and she responded that only her ex-husband was the person that she would know to have done something like this. The ex-husband was identified as 38-year-old Clinton Wayne Harmon, with ties to both Bastrop County, Texas, Watertown, South Dakota, and the Liberty Hill Police Department assisted the Williamson County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division, which resulted in our joint investigation. The investigation revealed that the female victim and Harmon were in the midst of a child custody dispute in Williamson County over the custody of their 7-year-old child, who was not home at the time of the shooting. Text messages between the female victim and Harmon indicated his frustration over financial matters and her relationship with the current boyfriend. In July, detectives received a call from Harmon's ex-girlfriend who lived outside of Texas in Louisiana. She expressed concern that Harmon and his family may have been involved in the shooting. She recalled a family meeting in Bastrop County in July of 2023 where Harmon, his mother Teresa, and his adopted father Matt discussed ways to murder the victim, as well as the judge presiding over the custody case. Matt Harmon remarked, quote, "I'm just telling you, I'll do 10 to 20 to get that grandbaby." They discussed using fentanyl to drug the victim, obtaining her license plate number, and hiring quote-unquote thugs from Austin to carry out the crime. Based on this information, detectives believe that Clinton Harmon, his mother, and his adopted father have been planning the murder prior to the events of March 8th. As a result, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office implemented safety measures to protect the judge involved in this case. After consulting with the Williamson County District Attorney's Office, it was decided to request additional assistance from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. A lot of this evidence was retrieved from Louisiana from the ex-girlfriend. It should be noted the undertaking taken by Round Rock Police Department, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office, and the United States Marshal, what it takes to protect a judge, his wife, 2 children, the victim, her daughter, and everybody involved 24/7 for almost 3 weeks to a month. And so there was a huge undertaking in providing the massive manpower to protect those people at all hours of the day and night. Further investigation revealed that Harmon owned a 2017 GMC Acadia, which was under a lien. The lien holder had installed GPS on the vehicle. A subpoena for the vehicle location on the day of the attempted murder confirmed that the vehicle was just 0.4 miles from the crime scene. Additional GPS data traced the vehicle's route from Harmon's home in Bastrop to Liberty Hill and its return trip after the shooting. It should be noted that he basically plotted the route so he would not go on any toll roads, pass any cameras, any type of flock camera systems, so he could gain his anonymity and say that he was at home all night and his car had never left. He had no idea that the lien holder had placed the tracker on his vehicle. On September 8th, on August 1st, detectives received 2 phone recordings from Harmon's ex-girlfriend in Louisiana. In the first, Harmon suggested she needed legal representation, warning her that she had incriminated herself by talking to detectives. In the second call, Harmon attempted to intimidate his ex-girlfriend to prevent her from cooperating with law enforcement. On September 8th, Williamson County detectives arrested Clinton Wayne Harmon in New Orleans as he attempted to get on the plane. He has been charged with attempted capital murder, first-degree felony, and will be extradited to Williamson County, Texas from Louisiana. His bond is set at $2 million. On September 12, 2024, Williamson County detectives filed charges on 50-year-old Matt Harmon and his 57-year-old wife, Teresa Harmon, in Bastrop County for the offensive retaliation, third-degree felony, for the threats made about the judge in Williamson County court proceedings. The Harmon's daughter, identified as 38-year Taryn Harmon, was arrested for a parole violation as a result of being in possession of a firearm. They were all taken into custody by the U.S. Marshals on September 16, 2024 in Bastrop County. Matt Harmon and Teresa Harmon's Bastrop County bonds have been set at $1 million each. This remains an ongoing investigation, and further arrests have not been ruled out to preserve the integrity of the case as it moves through Bastrop and Williamson County District Attorney's Office. Any questions for myself? CID?
Yeah, I have a question
Yes.
right here. So when the shooting originally happened in Liberty Hill, we looked it up and what kind of information we received as the press. Not very much information. It did say it appeared to be an isolated incident. Do you think releasing more information to the public back in March, was it, would have resulted in an earlier arrest?
Hard to say, because the tracker on the car was kind of the game changer, because he supposedly works for an oil company or something like in South Dakota, and his alibi was pretty ironclad. So other than someone, when you shoot somebody that many times, it tells you that's up close and personal. That's vindictiveness. That's not random. And so trying to find someone else who had the capability of doing that, until the phone call came from the ex-girlfriend, and that's what pretty much lit the fuse. Then it moved very, very rapidly. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little more about the judge? What was the connection there? Was it because of this child care issue?
Yeah, he was the judge that was assigned to the custody battle, and they had a court proceeding. I don't know what the date is now, but before all this inspired, the court hearing was September 20th. So it was imperative that they moved and acted before September 20th.
And the judge was not harmed?
He was not.
So was the suspect afraid he was going to lose custody, or what was?
It's our belief that he thought there was no way he was going to get custody. So if he could kill the wife, which he attempted to do in Liberty Hill the first time, custody would have been automatic to him as being the biological father.
Right. So could this have been a custody or a child paying child support?
All of the above. They did in the recordings hear that they were arguing over the financial situations.
So were the recordings how you guys found out about the plot, about the judge?
Once we got the initial phone call from Louisiana, we sent detectives to Louisiana because she was in possession of that phone. Due to jurisdictional issues, we contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation in Louisiana. They were able to take that phone and do their magic, and they got all of that data. And they said, yeah, this is a righteous deal. We have every conversation on it. Yes, ma'am.
And why is this information being shared 6 months after the fact? Were you waiting for the arrest?
Yeah, he's been at large the whole time. Yeah, and we couldn't take the chance on somebody expediting hurting the judge, his wife, or his kids, or anybody connected to the case. The victim, she has moved from Liberty Hill and since relocated, but she is in Williamson County, so she was still our responsibility. So we're just so many moving parts until we could get him in custody, or get everybody in custody, because we're waiting for mom and dad also to implicate themselves as well.
What charges exactly will be filed?
They're ongoing. Right now, the attempted capital murder on him and the retaliation on the parents for the judge, and then the daughter, she just had happenstance to have a warrant unrelated to this offense. There's more to come. It's still being worked off. I don't know if Bastrop County has filed any or what they're going to file as well.
Are the victims continuing to receive protection?
No, everybody's in custody, and no one has been able to make their $1 million bonds. And to our knowledge, they never made a deal, so to speak, with anybody to carry it out.
Did the suspects have previously criminal history, points, records?
I personally do not know that.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that we're aware of.
I mean, how often does a case like this happen in Williamson County?
This is, you can't make that stuff up type case. This is, made for TV type stuff. It's just, I've never heard of anything, especially, we get a lot of, in this line of work, everybody gets threatened with their jobs, but to literally start planning out on how to kill a judge and how to carry it out and how do we get the narcotics to do it, they were planning step by step on how to do it.
Now, back at the meeting with Senator Cornyn, I covered that as well.
Yes.
They had mentioned, I think it was an increase in threats against judges, like.
Yes, 750%, something like that's crazy. It was an astronomical number.
And then there was somebody from Williamson County, I remember talking about she had been involved in, not involved in, but she was.
That was Judge Matthews,
Okay.
correct.
So have you seen those numbers like mirrored here in
Yes.
Williamson County, like increasing threats?
We actually have an active plan right now on how to redo all of our court security. I mean, obviously I'm not going to share them, but we're actively involved in meetings on how to set up more security gates, limited access, man traps, all that kind of stuff. We've actually decreased a lot of access to our facility. It used to be fairly easy to roam through the courthouse now. Unless you have business there, you don't get in anymore. So.
Can you talk a little bit more about why it took so long to get Clinton arrested?
One more time, please.
Can you talk about a little bit more why it took so long to make this arrest?
Well, one, he was at large, and we were trying to get everybody in custody, and we were afraid if we tipped one off, that might expedite the killing of someone. And so we wanted to, and he was oblivious. He was oblivious that we knew what we knew. He thought he had an ironclad alibi. He thought his story about, missing all the tollways and all that kept him out of trouble, and that we bought it. And we just never made him the wiser. I mean, the expression on his face when they photographed him at the airport, kind of says it all. I think he even had a T-shirt that says, "It's not my fault I wasn't supervised," or something like that. T-shirt that he was wearing at the airport.
So the GPS tracker was put on by a previous owner of the vehicle?
Yeah, he went to, and these are my words, nobody else's. He went to one of those places that probably you would go to if you have a hard time obtaining credit. And you're probably paying 30% interest on your loan, and the fact that a repo might be in order. So a lot of those kind of types of car dealerships put trackers unbeknownst to the buyer, and it's buried in the fine print way down there that everybody just signs, and hey, I want my new car, and I'm not going to read it. And so if you don't make your payments, they come get your car, and he did not know that was on there.
Did it take some time for you to discover that tracker fact, or do you have known it for?
That's the work of these guys and girls. It's part of being a great detective and digging every aspect of the information, reading the fine print, going through everything, and finding.
What did protecting the individual or families entail over those months?
Between my SWAT team and Round Rock Police Department SWAT team, 24/7 coverage, and our patrol division putting marked units out in front of their car, out in front of their
stakeout?
Exactly, but we actually had marked police cars with a deputy in it sitting in front of their homes too as a deterrent.
Was there at any point any kind of weird occurrence or
No.
close call?
No, nothing. But once again, it's not a chance we could ever take. Yes, ma'am.
How long did Clinton Harmon plan this attempted murder?
No telling what was going through his mind before the march, but to drive from Bastrop and shoot somebody 13 times is not something I think he just got up on the couch and went, hey, he probably it was calculated on how to get there, how to map it out, how to stay off a tollway, how to stay off a flock camera system, how not to pass a bank camera, a restaurant camera. So it probably a lot of planning on his part.
What about child custody now?
Still with biological mom.
Right, is there, do you know if there's a motion in front of the court to change that at this point? Is it too soon?
I'm just guessing, but sitting in jail on attempted capital murder ×2 with $1 million bond, your custody is probably a little bit shakier now than it was to begin with. So.
Could there be any potential threat at large, or is the public safe for this risk?
Yeah, it was all over the child custody. There's no risk to the public. District Attorney, would you like to have any comment?
Sean Dick, District Attorney. The only thing I really want to add is I really want to thank the Sheriff's Department and the bailiffs that keep us safe every day. They keep not only the elected officials, but all of our employees and all the participants that come to court, whether it's jurors, witnesses. They do an excellent job of keeping us safe. They've worked very closely with our office throughout this entire investigation, and I'm just very appreciative to all of their efforts to keep all of us safe and secure.
Do you have an estimated timeline for when this case will go to trial?
So right now he's not technically in Williamson County's custody. He's still in Louisiana. So, but shortly he should be brought back to Williamson County, and then normal proceedings will begin. He'll be assigned a court date. He'll see a magistrate here, and either be appointed a lawyer or hire a lawyer, and we'll move forward at that point. So I'm never privy to when they're transporting individuals. I just know that arrangements have been made that he is now eligible to be brought back to Williamson County, and one day he will just show up here in our jail. The sheriff might know a little bit more about that transport and how that works, but usually they won't notify anyone else about the transport of an inmate.
But what about when he does get here in terms of bond? Are you going to petition for any change in that bond increase?
No, I think the bond being $2 million is appropriate. You know, he is being charged with, or we've approved charges for attempted capital murder. You know, they tried to take the life of 2 individuals, and just by the grace of God, they survived. And when you combine that with everything we know about the investigation and the judge, our intention is to make sure that he's held accountable.
Will these be tried together because of the threat to the judge and the conspiracy?
So at this time, the only charge we have will be related to the shooting of his wife, ex-wife. The charges involving the judge are originating out of Bastrop, so the Bastrop County DA's office will have more information about that. Thank y'all.
Chief, bring that. That's pretty much it for us. I'd just like to thank all the hard work of these folks, the U.S. Marshal's Office, Lone Star Fugitive Task Force, who are running these guys down and doing the surveillance 24/7 on keeping tabs on where they were. Our detectives, half these guys, a lot of them did double duty. Not only were they on the protective detail, but they were also the detectives working the case. So they've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. And Chief David, his patrol division, is the one who had all the uniform patrols that were out there following the family, sitting out in front of the house all day and all night. So it's a large effort. It's very manpower intrusive, and for that, I'm glad it's over with. It's a big tax on the taxpayer. It's a big chunk of money to protect a lot of people like this 24/7, given the nature of the crime. So. If any other questions, I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time.